The following program contains views that are not those of WVTC, iNetworks Communications, their subsidiaries, affiliates, or financial supporters.
Winning victory through Christ, WVTC Allsip Chicago, an iNetworks communication station.
But we know who we trust, just when I say that we gon' be alright.
WVTC Radio. Sit back and relax. Tune in. your boy. It's the Good News with Elder Miller, where we bring light to darkness. Come on in and enjoy this show. We got a nice one for you today. Good evening. How y'all doing? It's your boy. Thank you all for watching once again. Y'all know how I do it. I will bless the Lord at all times. His praises shall continuously be in my mouth. Before we move another further, you all, we got an awesome and amazing show for you all tonight. Yes. I'm telling you all, get ready, sit back, buckle down, get some popcorn and tag somebody and send a tweet, a bird, whatever you got to do, and let them know to log on to the Good News with Elder Miller and the best co-host this side of heaven, Dorian H. Nash, is back in the building. Yes. And our special guest, Tracy Prentice, is here. So we're looking forward to having a great time tonight, you all. But y'all know before we go another further, before we do anything, how we bring light in. And you know how we do it with our scripture. Our scripture today is always Luke chapter 14, verse 23 says, "And the Lord said unto the servants, go out into the highways and the hedgeways and the byways and compel people though, so you may be able to come into the house of the Lord." And with that being said, you all, we are off and running to the races, you all. Yes. Happy glad to see you all once another great Monday. Anytime you can inhale and exhale, you should be grateful for what God is doing, because after that, everything else is secondary. Because we continue to give God the glory of what he's been doing and how he's been moving in all of our lives. We're super excited about 2023. Anything that I do this year is going to be intentional. Intentional unto the Lord. So you all, if y'all see me doing anything out of character, please tap me on my back, on my shoulder, or slap me on my head. I give you permission. Because sometimes y'all know my hair just act up. I can't get it to act right. You already see sometimes I just can't. I don't know what it is about my hair. I can't get it to participate sometimes. It's all right. So, but it's okay. All right. Since my co-host said it's okay, it's okay then. But at the end of the day, you all, we will have a lot of fun tonight, you all. We also going to be interviewing another young man that's up and coming in the acting field, you all. He's from Chicago. We will be bringing him in on later on tonight. I think we're going to put him in our Say It Ain't So Sad. We're going to have to bring that into year 2023. Right. Yes. Right. So we'll have him on also, you all. We're super excited, you all. What was it, a couple of months ago, maybe, we brought our brother Keith Hell on. Yeah. I did get an email from him, or a text, whichever one it was, stating that he will be on Chicago PD this Wednesday, you all, at 8 o'clock. Please watch it. Chicago PD. Support. Our very own out of Chicago, you all. So he'll be on Chicago PD. We want you all to please watch the radio waves and get him going, you all. And right now, as we get ready to move forward, I'm going to get ready to toss it over to my sister, Dorian H. Nash, and let her get her way back up in here, and then she's going to bring in our special guest. All right? All right. Well, listen, first of all, it's so good to see you. I ain't seen you since last year. Right. That's what I'm saying. Okay. So long, man. So long. And as always, whenever I see us on the screen, the melanin is popping. It's popping it up. All three of them. Right. So I'm really glad that we get to, have this conversation. I want to introduce the incredible, the amazing Miss Tracy Prentice. But before we get started, just to say that you are part of State Farm Insurance, right? How long have you been with State Farm?
So it will be 3 years. This January is the start of my 3rd year.
Oh, so 3 years this month?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yes. All right. Look at that. All right. Yeah. So we're gonna jump right in it, because guys, as you're looking into the new year, this is an opportunity for you to kind of assess some of your financial needs, right? And what a lot of times people talk about, they talk about budgets, they talk about estate planning, but part of your estate planning should be your insurance needs as well. Absolutely. And a lot of times people don't think about that in the way that they should. So, but we're thinking about it for you. Yes. And so that's why we brought Miss Prentice on the show to have an opportunity for us, to kind of have a conversation around this subject, but also for you as the listeners listening in to say, you know what, I probably do need to kind of reassess some stuff. Look at maybe reassess my homeowner's insurance, or maybe reassess my renter's insurance or my car insurance, whatever. And I know a lot of people have feelings about insurance and different things, but the bottom line is y'all got to have it. Hey, right? One of the listeners saying they can't hear. I'm sorry.
Okay, but the bottom line, you got to have it. It should be part of, again, your overall estate planning, right? So with that being said, super excited to have Miss Princess here with us. And so welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited.
Yeah, of course. Well, you just shared that you've been, doing this for the past 3 years. But what got you into the field?
Sure. So one day I was having a conversation with another African American agent.
Okay.
And she was discussing with me the importance of life insurance. And at that time, I was a human resources professional. So I thought, I know quite a bit about life. And I actually have that at work. I have a couple times my salary. I think I'm pretty good. And then she explained, well, not so much, because don't you take, bigger moves or bigger career moves, and what do you have in between those moves?
Right.
Or what would happen, God forbid, if you're laid off or you have to leave?
Right.
Is that life insurance with a term called portable?
Right.
And I said, no, it actually is not. And I knew that being in HR. And so she started talking to me about that.
But and I know it may seem very straightforward, but just talk about that a little bit. The fact that term portable, because there's some people that are listening going, well, what you talking about, Willis? So explain that.
Yeah. So basically, portable and not fancy insurance and boring terms means if you leave a workplace, and it's a bigger workplace or smaller workplace, and they're giving you any kind of benefits, does that go on with you, or can you purchase it when you're not at that workplace?
Right.
And some benefits certainly you can continue to do and pay for, but they are at very, very high rates if you continue your health insurance or other benefits. Exactly, your COBRA.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the life insurance that most jobs offer, the reason why it's so inexpensive is because it's a term product.
Right.
And the likelihood of, any of us dying while employed at work is kind of unlikely.
Right.
Okay, so y'all heard that. So if you're looking at similar to what you just said, hey, you thought you were covered because you had this insurance to your job. But if you get laid off or if you change jobs, it is not portable, meaning it cannot come with you.
It cannot come with you. So typically, myself and my team of folks are always talking to our customers and anybody we meet. Where is that outside of work life policy? Hey, instead of us at these baby showers blessing our children and grandchildren with more clothes and more shoes, why don't we start them up a policy now that can help them with their future endeavors, whether it's college, whether it's starting a business, how that's important to do that, because everybody can't always get life insurance later on.
Right.
So sometimes the gist of it,
the youngest you get it, the cheapest that it is.
You are absolutely correct. And babies can get insurance as early as 15 days old. And, sometimes, we might think, oh, well, that's kind of morbid to be talking about a baby and want to put that policy on. But the gist of it is, just as we're living, we have to die,
that's
unfortunately.
Yeah.
And why not be building what we have coined, and a lot of people are going around throwing the word, the generational wealth. Why not have that policy in place, so then maybe barriers and things that happen when we get older and our bodies start having issues, and now the policy is more expensive to get.
Well, that leads me to you guys, and I'm sure I want y'all to think about it. Remember that it's a commercial that's out now. I think it might be State Farm, but it's Christmas time, and they have two little boys, and like, what did you get? It's like, oh, I got a policy.
Right.
I gotta buy it.
Right.
But it's a perspective.
Yeah.
It's a perspective that we're talking about, because when you said instead of buying that next pair of shoes or the next Jordans or whatever, but to invest in that child's future and invest in in that family. It's really a mindset to see, right? And I'm sure you run across that every day.
Yeah, so sometimes when we're just having discussions with our customers, it's the right now of what could be bought with that money. But sometimes it's the what happens when you don't have it. And it's not a scare tactic, but it's a be prepared tactic.
Yeah, for sure.
What is in place so that when that accident happens, when that fall happens, do you have something in place that you wouldn't have necessarily been able to save up $100,000 or $200,000, and you're making a small sacrifice so that your family is prepared to not only do the basic, which is the funeral expenses, but then how do we have more funds to do some of the things that maybe those parents or grandparents, or the things that we can't always afford, a down payment on a home, pay off some debt, start up that business we always talked about, again, go to that college or that alma mater that we always dreamed about that wasn't necessarily attainable.
Well, again, but I think, Pastor Young, I want you to jump in when you choose, but I think a lot of times, again, this paradigm shift of understanding how do you really truly create generational wealth,
Absolutely.
right? And other cultures, non-melanated folk, I'm just going to speak to for just a moment.
Come on now, because that's, once you would have threw it to me, you know where I was going with it, because, man,
But they understand that track, or understanding
absolutely
that's part of the portfolio.
Yes.
Absolutely. And
absolutely.
so in your work and what you see when you're talking, and I know you talk to all kinds of people, it's not just, melanated, but you talk to melanated and non-melanated and all of that. And y'all understand what I'm saying when I say that.
Right.
But how do you help get that message across that this needs to be part of your estate planning?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, as with anybody that I'm talking to, I try to first understand where that person is coming from. Different people come from different places. So I try to speak a language that really makes sense, and I try to hit home with things that have personally happened to me. My folks, they got divorced at a really young age, and I primarily grew up with my mom. My dad was still in my life. However, there were just certain things that I got to see being with one parent more so over the other.
Right.
And I had a traumatic event happen in my family where, unfortunately, I had a relative that was not prepared, and we could not have a proper service, and as an African-American woman, and, as a woman of faith and believing, I think that closure of, being at a funeral and kind of saying what would we think is that goodbye is sometimes it's helpful. And we didn't have the opportunity to do that because nobody had talked about where is that person's policy at?
Right.
Well, how many times, I'm sure all of us, I know I've experienced it too. Someone passes, they're not prepared. Now you got to go online and do a GoFundMe.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And most times it doesn't end well. I mean, people are giving, but they don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
And now you and I just think sometimes it's just so difficult. You're already going through grieving. You're already in a very vulnerable state.
Right.
And now you're in a position where you're depending on someone else to help you bury
your loved one. Yeah. So,
and it's very precarious.
So one thing about that is,
you hear that word precarious.
That
was my father's word.
Right. I was wondering when it was coming, because she be saying stuff. I can't even spell. I can't even, PR, precarious. There you go, right there. That's how we do that. But like she was saying though, you all, a lot of times we don't want to talk about stuff like that, and we're not prepared. Even if you do have a policy, some of us need to put people in place. Now, where I find problems at is where we don't do the guarantor, the beneficiary, or a guarantor that handles the estate.
Yeah.
You understand? And then sometime now with the money, matter of fact, I know somebody that's going through that right now, where the brothers and sisters are fighting.
Yeah.
Because one of the sisters that's over everything, she's not fair about what's going on. So now they bickering and fighting. Eventually, it's going to be put in trust.
So
because
they didn't have. Is she the power of attorney?
She has the power of attorney, but she's not dividing it like it was supposed to be.
Oh, she's not. But doesn't she have to? I'm sorry. We have another conversation. But doesn't she have to follow the?
Okay, so here's the deal. Basically, since she's saying that she took care of dad and nobody helped her, so as her being the what's the word again?
The executive.
The executive of the policy. She's not doing okay. So like, she has say so over everything. Who gets the cars? Who gets this? Who gets that? And it was told that she should separate. It was told that she should do certain things.
But it's not. It's not written.
Exactly. Well, no, I think it is. But the bottom line is, if she doesn't follow it, then from my understanding, the children can tie that up and put it in probate.
What
Right.
say you, Miss Princess?
So I'm not as familiar as I'd
Okay.
like to be with the
Okay.
estate planning and then what happens when it does fall in probate.
Okay.
I can give people bonds for probate when there are things that are going on in regards to, them presenting themselves in court and saying, this piece of property is mine or this belongs to me. But to your point, Nash, that we should have those kind of conversations. It's nice to celebrate, but it's also nice to be planning and to understand what happens next.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's what we as Black African Americans, we fall short at that, and we need to do a better job at it, because like right now, my sister and them have a house that's next door to them, and they can't even find out who own it. Because I can guarantee you it's tied up somewhere in court. They can't get any information on it. The house is paid for, obviously, and it's just there. You know what I'm saying? And nobody can find out anything about it. And that's probably because that person has probably died and was older and didn't do what they needed to do to take care of proper paperwork. So the house is just sitting. Basically.
Wow.
And it's a nice house. I mean, but it's been sitting.
There's, I'm sure you probably see all different types of situations, but not only that, but I think the importance, and you can speak to this. I personally know of a situation where it's a married couple, but the one of the individuals is going through a health crisis.
Okay.
And having dementia, relatively young.
Right. Oh yeah.
Relatively young, not even 60 yet.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so being able to position, they're trying, the spouse is trying to position themselves so for the amount of alertness or awareness that this person still has, to get the paperwork in place.
Yeah, that's important.
Because in a year or so from now, that person won't have the capacity.
Right.
And so a lot of times, I think people, if you can speak to that, people just sometimes feel stuck or they don't know what to do.
Yeah. So I've oftentimes, while I'm, again, I was in human resources before, and now I'm in insurance. People do come to me for referrals, and I do have some attorneys that I have referred for those kinds of issues. But again, preparing and having those kind of conversations that may not feel easy to talk about helps us later on, so that when bad things or unforeseen things happen, we're not grabbing at stuff, and we're actually able to sit down and go through the process of missing that person because those sorts of things are already in place.
How would you, for our listening audience, how would you suggest how they bring it up? Like, is it good to bring it up at family reunions?
Nah, I don't think so.
You know what I'm saying? But like, how?
You had them ribs. You got insurance.
But I mean, how would you encourage someone to begin to have those types of conversations? Because it is challenging.
Yeah, most definitely. So, it's one of those things of just feeling the right moment. So maybe sitting down, watch some TV. It's a quiet moment. Only those people that need to be in the room are there. It's not a lot of distractions. Right. And it's hey, can we just have a couple of minutes? This has just been on my mind. I'd like to know where this is, or how would we find this, or what happens if that happened? Can we write this down? And then, just again, being emotionally aware of if that person's defensive or not, but just reminding them of, the different stories that all of us know of. Oh, X person on my block didn't do that right. And now, their house is being rented out, or they lost their home because there was not a conversation about what is the move forward plan.
Right.
Right. So if we feel so comfortable talking about something like, some of the other products that I have are like car insurance. And I think it's pretty peculiar that, I'll be on the phone with a customer like tonight, and I wrote a policy on a car. It was relatively higher because the person didn't have an insurance history. They probably didn't have long established credit, which that is a bearing for State Farm customers on how great of a rate that they get. And some people don't know that. But long story short, we feel comfortable sometimes saying, oh, that insurance on that car is this many hundreds of dollars. But Tracy, you want to talk about this life policy, but that's $100 a month. But yeah, I'm talking about $100,000 more for your family.
Right.
And we'll drop the 150, 200 in a heartbeat for a car that we won't drive more than 6 years.
Yeah.
Right.
But we won't question that.
Well, I mean, again, I think it's a paradigm shift in our thinking.
Yeah.
And I think also, and I want to speak to this a little bit, and I want to encourage you. This is an opportunity. If our audience is listening, if you have a question, if there's something that you like, I've been embarrassed to ask this question. I want to, here's the time. Please take advantage of that. If there's something you want to comment on, Pastor G and our producers are monitoring our comment line. If there's something you need to say or share, I can't.
What's this in the middle of our screen?
The captioning is coming up, so we can't fully see the comment. It says we have baby showers, but then we can't see because of the
have something. Yeah. Give us a second, you all, please.
We want to make sure that we read your comments.
Our engineer is working very hard for us. We just want to put that out there.
Can you exit out or no? Okay.
Can you see it, cuz? I know you had to ask surgery. Get the line up,
Let me see.
Help him out. There you go.
All right.
Hey!
So our listeners says, make the dream work. So our listener says, Angela Miller, who happens to be
my wife.
Your wife.
Hey, Angela.
Hey, Angela. She says, we have baby showers for the birth of life. Why not life insurance for death? Make it make sense.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. Baby, I think you own to something. I think that's a t-shirt. Really.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, too, people don't understand. And Cheryl said, what every family gathering, no right time. What?
No, are you saying in terms of time to talk about it? I think that's what she was talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is no right time, but
you just do it. You
got
to do it.
Have the conversation.
So do you? Okay, I'm sorry.
No, so to your wife's point, I've talked to some funeral homes because some people do some level of assessments just to understand, well, what is that one piece of it? But just to reiterate, it's just not that average cost of the funeral, which is about $10,000 to $15,000 now.
And that's even if you cremate.
So I think it's a little bit less than a cremation.
Yeah.
That could be around $7,000 to $8,000 if you're
that's
not. That's a nice chunk of money to
Yeah.
make certain that your loved one, has a celebration. But there are some other factors that, we miss the part of what happens with that person's income that is not in that household anymore.
Right.
Wouldn't it be nice that I have that person's annual monthly income for a couple of months, so at least I can just go in the kitchen and cry a little bit without the cable being cut off, without me coming into a house with no lights or no heat,
or worried about keeping my house.
Now this is
too.
Yeah.
Let me make this one point while it's on my mind. Y'all know how I am, because I'll fire off and I forget. Okay, so this is one of the points that was taught to me when I was in looking for insurance some time ago, is that I was told that the insurance policy should be set up to where either the income of the husband or the wife, it should be able to cover that for at least 2 to 3 years. Well, like you said, there's no stress situations. Like my income is $200,000 a year, whatever the case may be. So I should have a $600,000 policy to $1 million, so that my wife don't have to worry about taking care of my.
So, don't take this brother out. Okay.
So my wife don't have to worry about sweating for at least 3 years or whatever. You know what I'm saying? She can keep on with a lifestyle. Yeah. And that's what that policy. And this is what they're taught, though.
Yeah,
you understand what I'm saying? Our other brothers and sisters, that's what they're taught. And it's not taught. That's why this is one of the main reasons why we have somebody like a Tracy Prentice on the show. Because in 2023, y'all already know, we bring light to darkness. And these are dark situations that we're going to bring light to. We're letting you all know you need to get your affairs in order, because that's what this is all about. At the end of the day, let's stop getting caught off guard. Right? And putting ourselves, because guess what, you all, these policies are pennies on the dollar. We'll go out and pay
young.
Yeah, absolutely. You got these Georges $300 and all that, and then you can't go out and do $150 for a policy that can help your family out, and so that you don't end up outdoors. You understand what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, you got to think about it. If you have an annual income of $200,000 or $150,000, whatever the case may be, and that loved one goes on to be with the Lord, Now it's just like you said, you in a situation where lights may be getting cut off, cable may. This stuff is expensive.
It changes your life.
Oh, for sure.
Your quality of life.
Your
quality of life.
Yeah, but so listen, why not be prepared?
The time has flown.
Oh man, we rolled.
The time has flown. Now the hour isn't over, but we've gone halfway through.
Halfway.
So we're going to take a quick break for 2 minutes. We're going to come right back. We're going to add our next guest as well to the conversation for the Say It Ain't So. Okay, and Tracy, you're staying with us, right?
Yes, I am.
All right. So we'll be right back in 2 minutes. Have a listen to the music. Please get ready for some more of your comments, and we'll be right back.
Hold that thought.
Lord, we give you the glory and worship your name, for you are worthy of all of my praise. Oh, Lord, we give you the glory and worship your name, for you are worthy of all of our praise. You're holy. You're right, you're righteous. We praise for who you are. We love and adore you. We praise for who you are. You're holy and right, you're righteous. Praise you, who you are. We love and adore you. We praise for who you are. I will sing unto you with a loud voice, and my praises will continue to flow. I will sing unto you with a loud voice, and my praises will continue. Lift your voice.
All right. Hey, everybody. We are back. Thank you for listening and staying with us. I want to jump right in. We have our next guest that's going to join us virtually, and that is Mr. Chris Taylor. And I'm going to just read his bio really quickly. Chris Taylor is an extraordinary actor of 10 years strong, born and raised
in Chicago. Woo-hoo!
He just recently finished a show at the Black Ensemble Theater as Langston Hughes. Okay.
Yeah.
In my brother Langston, that's what it is, which is up for multiple nominations for the Jeff Awards this fall. He also finished his first feature film as the lead in the movie titled Pretty Crazy,
Come on,
which is set to premiere this spring. Stay tuned for his growth. You can follow him on Instagram at Chris the Thespian. Please welcome Mr. Chris Taylor to the room, y'all.
Hey, what's going on, Chris? How you doing?
Did I do you justice?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
All right.
Thank you for having me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear, Chris.
Well, thank you for joining us tonight. Can you hear us all right?
Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay, there you go.
Yes, I can.
Froze up a little bit, but we're gonna keep it moving, keep it going. you a lead role in, and you've been acting for the past 10 years. You played Langston Hughes, which is one of my personal favorites. So how did you tell us a little bit about your journey before we jump right into the Say It Ain't So section? So tell us a little bit what got you on the journey of becoming an actor. And do you have life insurance?
Right.
I'm glad you asked that. It's funny that you asked that because in the flexibility of acting and just figuring out how to make that my primary income, a friend of mine introduced me to getting my life insurance license. So I just passed my exam in December. So I have my past exam. I'm getting my license, working on that to be the primary vehicle to supplement while I work on acting. So yes.
Wow.
And
so
then
let me share that a
as
little
far
bit
as
Tracy, because I don't know if she can hear us.
Yeah.
When I asked him about his life insurance, did you hear that properly? He said that he just got his license.
He's about
Yeah.
Wow.
So he's like,
Excellent.
Yeah. To supplement his income.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. So maybe you got a potential employee. Right. Right.
State Farm doesn't sponsor us.
Right. Actually, dude, the light skinned guy, he's from Chicago. He's from Harvey. Jake from State Farm. You know he's from Chicago.
Oh
yeah.
So there's a connection there. So we didn't mean to interrupt.
I'm sorry, Chris.
Please continue to share.
Yeah. Anytime.
No, in terms of your career and things that are coming up.
Yes, or how I got started with acting. Sorry, say it one more time. I'm having a little bit of connection issues on my end. Sorry.
The show is only an hour long. We gotta keep.
No, we wanted you to just.
The question is,
Chill there.
what got you started, in your acting career?
We keep freezing over here, cuz. Yes,
my church had introduced me to the I can try from my phone. I'll just keep talking. One of my mentors from my church introduced me to acting as far as he just saw the bubbly personality that I had, the very, very vibrant class clown-ish sort of thing. And I didn't really have a lane to utilize it to the fullest. So I was introduced to acting through this company, Actors, Models, and Talent for Christ. That was my first ever audition.
Sweet.
Got a call back, and then learned that there was money to get into it and invest in it, and I didn't choose that route, but it sparked the desire to, be a fool on a day-to-day basis and be paid for it. So I enjoyed that.
Okay. Well, that's great.
So what I'm hearing is the pastor was like, well, I gotta find something for this boy to do.
Right. Give him something to do. Right. So, yeah, man. Hey, and actually, it's crazy because the play that he played in, when he played Langston Hughes. Now you finna say it. I know you're about to say it. It's coming. How about the family that he portrayed Langston Hughes is their mom, Barbara Jordan, she was in the neighborhood I grew up in. I know all 8 of her kids. I grew up with them all. So the Jordans actually was at his show and everything supporting. Yeah, Barbara Jordan.
You all have heard of 6 degrees of separation, right? Pastor G personally is 6 degrees of separation. I don't care who you bring on the show. I don't care where they're from. At some point, you're like, oh, that's my cousin in there.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
That's awesome news.
But go ahead. So, Chris, we just wanted to get you in here tonight, man, and just get to see your beautiful face, man. Introduce yourselves to us. And next week you'll be sitting here live, with us. We're going to bring you actually to the studio, and we want to chop it up with you. But we just want to make sure that we, gave you a chance to come on so the people would know. And man, please continue to listen and let people know that the Good News with Elder Miller and co-host Dorian H. Nash is going forward, and we're going to continue to do great things. We're looking forward to getting you on the studio Monday. You can stick around if you want to, to see what's going on with the show. We're going to continue our interview with the fabulous and anointed Tracy Pettis, as we're talking about Prentice. I'm sorry, Prentice. We're talking about State Farm issues and things like that. So this information that she's been putting out has been very, very helpful. So we want to continue to move along with that. All right, bro. We'll have fun with you next week. Trust me, when you come to the studio, we'll have great fun. All right, bro. You be blessed, and we just stay right there with us if you want to stay around. All right.
All right. So
okay, thank you for having me.
I have a question. But here's the thing, we're going to jump into the Say It Ain't So section, right?
Man, say it ain't so.
All right, so did you have one in particular that you wanted to mention?
I already know you got something bubbling. Go ahead, I'm with you.
I sure don't.
Oh, no. You all, check this out. I don't have one either.
Say it ain't so.
Say it ain't so.
Say it ain't so.
2023.
Listen. Let's just look what's happening in this past week, right? So let's look at what's happened with Kevin McCarthy.
Okay.
And how it took 15 votes for him to become Secretary of State.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Which is unprecedented. Never has happened in the past, 164 years. Right?
Man.
So the question I want to put before our audience is, for the Speaker of the House, I'm sorry. But the question I have for our audience and for us as well, it appears that he's given away everything to get this role.
Right.
And I'm reminded of the scripture, what good is it for a man
to gain the whole world,
and yet lose a soul? That's how it looks to me for Kevin McCarthy. I don't think that he's going to be able really to govern. And I want to hear what you guys have to think about that. Do you think he's going to be able to do his job effectively? Look at me pull that right out of my look at that. Come on.
You know what?
You can't tell me God ain't good.
You know what, though? It's crazy how we're seeing things happen that we've never seen before. Mm-hmm. That's taking place. Just like, even with Donald Trump, with him winning, how he won. With that being said, we're just seeing mind-blowing things that are taking place in our world now. That's why I think that it's so important that we got to be connected to what God has for us. Because just like you said, I'm going to tell you, I know he's not going to be able to do his job, effectively. You know what I'm saying? And there's so many other people that are doing things, and it showed when they stormed the White House. Think about how many people done that. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's going on in our world today. We're seeing things that are unprecedented, that are taking place, that has taken so many people out of character, and we're getting so far away from God and what he needs for us to do, and people will do anything. You know what I'm saying? So if that makes sense.
Well, it makes a lot of sense, and I want for Tracy and for Chris to also chime in as well. But what I really have seen this past couple of years is the fact that there is no accountability.
Thank you.
So even when I think about the how they charged the Capitol on January 6th, which we've just now celebrated 2 years. Well, celebrated is not the right word. Commemorated that this took place 2 years ago. The people that did this and the main perpetrator are still out here living their lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Yeah. People within Congress, people within the Senate that took place in this what have been a coup, still have not been brought to accountability. Whereas if that had been any of us melanated folk.
Oh man, please.
And again, I don't want to say that just as an excuse, because it's not an excuse in any sort of way, but how do we answer to that? And I want to toss that to you for a moment, Chris, if you can answer. What do you think should be done? I know that you look, I'm just an actor, but you have certainly thoughts about this. What do you think should be done to bring people to accountability? Is it possible to bring them to accountability? And then I have the same question for you, Tracy.
Can you hear us, Chris?
Like to be optimistic and say yes, that it's possible to bring them to accountability. However, in order to properly do so, I feel, at least for me, I know I can speak for myself, that the more I educate myself, I will know how to properly bring them to accountability. Because a lot of things that are transpiring in our communities in the world is over the heads of most of my peers, because we aren't putting ourselves in spaces to get us to understand what's going on and happening in these political spaces are affecting us long term. So I would start with the educating of individuals by themselves, me personally, and just my naivety with to the topic.
I appreciate you sharing that there's room for further education, and I think there certainly has been disenfranchisement with our citizenship. I can't say citizenship that would allow us to really understand what has taken place. So I thank you for sharing that, Chris. Tracy, I pose the question to you: how can we bring accountability to these people, and what do you think is even possible?
I hate to be doom and gloom, but the way that, economics sometimes plays into who, is held accountable or not, I just don't foresee in the near future that happen. I feel like we've gotten so far from what's right, what's fair, and what seems equitable.
Yeah.
And I'm in my early 40s, and I have never, seen some of the things that we've seen of, misunderstandings, and, certain races are not, penalized as much as African American, and let alone African American men. So we could talk about this for days and days and days. We have a penal system that, works off the premise of having free labor.
Yeah.
So when you have a system that we can legitimize, kind of like slavery to a certain extent, and then a justice system that doesn't always necessarily prevail in some cases,
right?
And as African Americans, sometimes we get to celebrate some of the wins of, yes, that person was brought to justice, and then sometimes not. So
yeah,
I just stay prayerful, but I don't think in the lifetime that I'll see, unfortunately.
Well, again, I appreciate your honesty, and I think the thing that what our show tries to do, and our tagline is, we ain't trying to help you, we're trying to hope you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so we want to give hope, but we also have to speak truth to what it is.
And that's what she just spoke.
So that's what it is. But I want to part two of that. You mentioned something about free labor and the ways in which Black folks in particular have been the workers of that free labor. There is a bill, I believe, in New Orleans right now, HB, and don't let me say the number because I don't know, but it's going through their state legislation.
Okay.
Because we know the 13th Amendment basically abolished slavery. This particular bill, because we know that when it comes to the penal system, your rights are then taken away from you if you're part of the penal system. Right? This bill broadens it.
Okay.
Meaning it's making it more ambiguous. It's saying the same thing in terms of the penal system.
Right.
But it broadens it in such a way that it's up to the discretion of the judges.
Okay.
To me, this is a slippery slope.
Yes.
I can't imagine that slavery would be brought back, but it's so pernicious.
Yes.
That's my second $20 college word.
I love it.
But it is so, because of the subtlety of it.
Yeah.
And what you just said, Chris, earlier about us really educating ourselves and understanding what is before us and the way that it is posed. Because it's like, do you vote for? Yeah. And most people are like, well, yeah, I vote for that. And not knowing that we're voting against our best interests.
Yes. Well, that's how they, see, that's what government does with us.
So if they can do it in New Orleans, they can do it in New York.
Oh, yeah. Because
they can do it in New York. They're doing it in Chicago.
Absolutely. And that's what they're doing now. And that's why people don't understand that it's so important to come out for the local elections as well. Yeah. See, as black folk, we didn't ever really like, that don't bother. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, that's actually more important.
Exactly.
In some ways.
For sure. Because that's what determines how much money come in our communities and everything like that. So the Bible said that we perish for a lack of knowledge. Yeah. And we as black people, we won't pick up something, a book or something to knowledgeize ourselves. That's my big word. Come on. Word, but knowledgeize.
We made one tonight.
Knowledgeize. So that's my word. But anyway, for us to learn how they are rewording things, and just like you said, we may think that slavery is over, but it's really not, because guess what? You have the institution, the penal system, and things of that nature, where a lot of our people, like you said, it's free labor, and it's been like that for cotton and everything else that's been going on. Yeah. When is our my thing is that this is one of my questions: will we ever get reparation, and will we ever see it? You understand? And I understand now. Quote me if I'm wrong. Evanston has started giving their people reparation in a form of a tax break or something. So I don't know if that's going to happen with us or not, but they are doing that in Evanston. Yeah. So look it up.
I think you have to live in Evanston. You have
to get it. Yeah.
You have to have been a resident for at least 3 years.
Okay. Yeah. I know. I know. And see, a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
You know, but y'all know I'm a
There's going to be a flock of folk. I'm moving to Evanston.
But I mean, that's a good thing for it to start out somewhere. You know, we have to have a start. Right?
Absolutely. And again, for those that are listening, if there are any comments, or if there's something you want to share, we want to hear from you. If there's an opportunity for you to have a question, we're still here with the incredible Miss Tracy Prentice. If you do have an insurance question, but we always try to mix the local, what's happening today. I'm trying to make sure I can see the comment. Hold on a second. And I don't know, our producer, can you put that comment back up?
Yeah,
we couldn't quite see it.
There we go.
Says Chevy P. Washington. Hey, Cheryl. I'm sorry, I said Chevy. Cheryl, we must pray for our Egyptians because their hearts have been hardened. Can you expound on that a little bit more? We're going to talk a few minutes, but if you can expound on that statement, I want to make sure I understand your statement. So please, more engagement, Cheryl. Please share some more with that. So again, I think that as we've been talking about, I think in some ways this all ties together.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
Because what would it look like is if we as a melanated people really did come together and understand what it means to have embrace our generational wealth, embrace our legacy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And we hold ourselves accountable.
Yeah.
Right? And then what would that look like compared to other cultures, right? Because we've had it at different points in history.
But you know what, though? You brought up a great point, because that brings me back to Black Wall Street.
Okay.
We had our own everything.
Yeah.
And look at what they're trying to do with our history with that, trying to sweep it under the rug. They don't want us to, first of all, they don't want us to be on one accord, period. Because we understand we spend $1 trillion as melanated people.
Yes.
Think what we could do with $1 trillion. Actually, $1 trillion could actually get us to where we need to be at if we just came together on one accord. But what's happening, because I'm going to spread some light to some darkness, you got to think about this. In all of our communities, how many gun violences or gun cases have you seen that's on the rise? One of the main factors is that they put those guns in our communities. They put the drugs in our community. And then, you know what I'm saying? And so we don't get a chance to see what everybody else is seeing, or we don't get a chance to bond together and come together. And because guess what? Everybody that's creating, think about this. You got 12 to 14-year-olds. They're not going to school. When have you ever heard about young men going up on the Gold Coast, stealing cars, shooting and killing people, and they're not even in school? So they've already showed us that they don't care. How are you 12, 13, 14 years old and nobody even know where you at? Nobody knows where they're at. They're not even in school.
Well, that's definitely a fact. I want to come back to that. Cheryl just she typed in Congress. So are you referring to the Egyptians as Congress making that connection? Is that what you're saying? And that their hearts are hardened? I just want to make sure I understand. And then to your point, when you just mentioned about kids, didn't we just have a 6-year-old shoot a teacher?
Yeah. And what? You're in Virginia or something like that?
Yeah, in Virginia.
Horrible. That was part of I say it ain't
that's
so.
A say it ain't so.
Yeah.
How did a 6-year-old get a gun? How did that 6-year-old get it to school? And then And then what was it that prompted him to point a gun at his teacher?
Who told a 6-year-old how to use a gun? Them video games. Call of Duty, I mean, come on, man.
I'm sure, but
these kids.
But I've got to believe there has to be some sort of trauma that took place in that boy's life, right?
Absolutely. To even be able to, I mean, come on, 6 years old, you got enough sense to go to the school and take a gun out and shoot a teacher. Do you understand? They arrested him.
And to have that much anger overall at that young of age, and you have not really experienced
anything
what we call life, really. So
obviously he's lived a lot of life in them 6 years to be that angry.
That speaks volumes. And then it's also the mortality piece of, I'm so mad at this person that they should not live anymore. Does he really, as a 6-year-old, understand that death is final? I mean, to charge him, and then where will we house him at? And what do we expect to do with him after 40 or 50 years or whatever sentence? Where is he going to fit in society, having been institutionalized?
Now, I want to be clear. Did he end up killing that teacher? Did she die?
I don't know if she died or not. Let's if anybody out there, cuz can our engineer? We're gonna get our engineer on top of that.
Now again, it doesn't lessen the crime. He's still. But I pray that she survived it.
Saw that they shot him and he got arrested.
And again, like to your point, where do you house a 6-year-old?
Yeah, right.
Where's the appropriate place to penalize or to teach a 6-year-old that wasn't the right thing to do? And then who makes the judgment on for how long? When is that person rehabilitated? Or is that...
Well, again, I think there's so many questions. Like, do you even put a kid in... Do you put a kid in prison? Or do you put them in a health facility?
I'm thinking they're going to probably turn him back over to his parents, because they've had certain situations where people have been so young that they I mean, like you say, 6 years old. I don't even think there's room for a 6-year-old in a penal system. So they're going to probably turn him back over to his parents, I'm assuming, and then trial.
Now, what we don't know, I mean, we just hear the headline: 6-year-old shoots teacher.
Right.
What I'm hoping, and this is crazy to say, that I'm hoping that the kid brought the gun to school, pulled it out, and somehow accidentally shot her. You don't think so?
No.
That's a reach. That's a reach.
That's a reach. Because I mean,
I was hoping.
Yeah, I mean, because at the end of the day, how the gun get pointed towards the teacher?
Well, I mean, I put it like this: years and years ago, when I was maybe 10 or 12, I have a cousin that didn't understand what a gun could do. Saw the cowboy movies or whatever, pointed it and did shoot his mom. Right. Shot her in the leg.
Right.
So it wasn't as serious, but didn't realize the impact. So in his young mind, didn't understand what he was doing.
Right.
Right. Now again, you say, well, but all the video games and everything, that 6-year-old had to know.
Right.
But did he?
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay. So to answer your question, our engineer did look up the story. She's in stable condition.
Okay.
But that also brings me and reminds me of the 8-year-old that got his hands on the gun in the car with the mother. She's driving and he blew her brains out. So, I mean, and now they didn't, I don't think they locked him up, 8 years old. So I'm assuming that the same thing may go for the 6-year-old. So you see what I'm saying? So the bottom line is that people are getting their hands on guns that, and we should have these guns locked up, at the end of the day.
And again, I want to go back because we're almost out of time. This has been an incredible show, and we need to dedicate some more time to these conversations around these shootings. But I also want to address Cheryl, because she was confirming that she was referring to the lawmakers and to Congress in terms of their hearts being hardened. And I would agree with you, Cheryl. I think their hearts are hardened. So we do need to pray, and we also need to vote some people out. Bottom line, they just need to be voted out. But that being said, I don't want us to end on a doom and gloom note. It has been an absolute pleasure to have Chris Taylor and Tracy Prentice here on the show tonight. We welcome you both back. We know, Chris, we look forward to seeing you next week live in studio. And Tracy, again, take a moment and share with the audience ways that they can contact you.
Sure, absolutely. Thanks for having me, everybody. And it's not hard to reach out to either myself or my team. I have 4 people. We're located on the south side at 8550 South Stony. We're right off of the interstate. And you can also give a call. We're open during business hours, 9 to 5. And on Saturday from 9 to 1, the phone number is 773-721-1880. And also across the banner, my email has been going. Anybody can email me questions and talk. Again, no question will go unanswered. We can explore different things. And I have products to protect your business, to protect your life, to protect your home, and to protect your car, amongst other things. So asking questions certainly gets, your investments protected.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Pastor G.I. Thompson, back to you.
All right, y'all. It's been a Chris. We thank you, man. We looking forward to having you in the studio with us next week. Also, we're going to try to see if we can get that brother Keith Howell in here because he's on Chicago. Once again, y'all, please support my brother. Actually, that's
my cousin.
That's our family. That's us good. That's us good.
Yeah.
He'll be on Chicago PD you all next week. It comes on at 8 o'clock on Channel 5.
Yeah, NBC.
Please. Yep, NBC. So support our brother, you all. And Chris, we're going to help you out, brother. We're going to get you out there, man. And like I say, we're looking forward to working with you. We got a play that we're going to redo.
Yeah.
Which we got So You Think You Want to Be Grown.
Yeah.
We got several of them. Couples. We might. You got
Heaven Only Knows.
Heaven Only Knows.
Yeah,
we got some good plays that's out there. Actually, we got a DVD out there. Do people still have DVDs?
Yeah. We got to start streaming.
Right. We got some DVDs that's out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, we're looking forward to having you next week. And man, Tracy has been, oh my God, you've been a natural. She said this has been her first interview, but this won't be her last.
Yes.
We've had a great time with her, you all, and we're just happy that the show. Thank you, Cheryl. Cheryl said a couple people saying that it was a great show. We thank you for that. Yes. And also, you all, please reach out and tell somebody about what's going on over here with the Good News of Elder Miller and co-host Dorian H. Nash. We got a lot of great things coming up, you all. We got a lot of stuff going on that's going to show you all, man, that God is not done with us yet.
Come
all
on.
right, peace and hair grease. Y'all know how we do it. Much love. We out of here. Later.
Y'all.
Views made on the preceding program are not those of WVTC Radio, iNetworks Communications, or their financial supporters.